Hey, welcome! Today, we're going to talk about something that's totally natural for humans, but has been trapped in a web of myths and just plain confusion for centuries.
But let's kick things off with a real shocker. What if I told you that for decades, medicine itself officially labeled this as a mental illness, something that needed a cure? It's totally true, and believe me, that history has left its mark.
And you can see that mark on people like Alex. Now, Alex is like so many guys out there. He carries around this sense of guilt about something that is completely and totally natural. He might not even know why he feels that way, but the reason's been hiding in plain sight for years, just decades of bad information.
So how in the world did we get here? How did a basic biological impulse, one you see all over the animal kingdom, become one of our biggest taboos? The answers, you'll see, are kind of buried in our history.
So let's do a quick walk through this timeline. Back in the Middle Ages, it was mostly just a joke, nothing serious. But then, things took a really dark turn. In the 18th and 19th centuries, medicine, heavily influenced by religious ideas, pretty much declared war on it. I mean, boys were warned not to sleep with their hands under the covers. Some doctors even suggested surgery as a so-called cure. Insane, right? The sexual revolution started to push back against all that. But you can see why we're in this weird spot today, caught between modern freedom and the ghosts of all those damaging myths.
All right, so it's time to separate the rumors from the actual science. We're going to put these old myths under the microscope and see what the facts really have to say.
Okay, first up, the big health scares, that it somehow damages your body or affects your fertility. The reality? Not a single scientific study supports this. Not one. There is absolutely zero link to genital diseases, and it has no negative impact whatsoever on your ability to have kids. So yeah, this myth is completely 100% busted. Now here's where the story gets even more interesting. The old fear that it could cause cancer? Not only is that false, but large-scale studies actually suggest the complete opposite. It turns out that regular sexual activity, and yes, that includes masturbation, is linked to a reduced risk of prostate cancer. How about that?
And what about your mind? Does it cause anxiety or wreck your confidence? No way. In fact, an orgasm is one of nature's most powerful stress relievers. Now, look, if someone is already struggling with anxiety, they might use it as a kind of crutch, but that just makes it a symptom of an issue that's already there. It's never, ever the cause.
And just to show you how absurd some of this misinformation got, let's talk about a classic. Does it make you go deaf? This crazy idea came from an 18th century doctor who mistook that feeling of post-orgasm relaxation for actual hearing damage. The answer, of course, has always been a loud and clear no.
So, now that we've cleared away all that fear and misinformation, what are we left with? Well, it turns out this totally natural act isn't just harmless. It can actually be a powerful tool for your overall well-being.
Think about it in three key ways. First, it's a tool for self-mastery. You learn about your own body, how to control arousal, and that can directly improve intimacy with a partner. Second, it's a tool for managing life. That dopamine release is a natural stress killer, and honestly, a fantastic sleep aid. And third, it's simply a way to fulfill a natural need, a healthy, private outlet for your sexual energy, no matter what your relationship status is.
So, after going through all that history and busting all those myths, what's the one thing you really need to take away from all of this?
It's this. The act itself was never the problem. The problem was the centuries of shame and rumors that were built up around it. So the goal isn't to change a natural behavior, it's to heal your relationship with that behavior. And you do that by focusing on the facts, not the fear.
Understanding your body is really the first step to owning your health. So if you're ready to swap out the myths for real science, make sure you subscribe for more explainers just like this one. Thanks so much for joining me on this one. Until next time, stay curious.